person questioning whatever you're questioning. Like, look, I can question this. I must be so woke and amazing, right? And such a free thinker. Do you think that's increasing the scrutiny on religious beliefs?
Yeah, we just had this big debate at Mississippi State in a lecture hall that went kind of crazy in there. And this guy stands up and tries to poke fun at Christianity, saying, you guys live in a culture of certainty. We live in a culture of free thinking and uncertainty. And you guys are bastardizing all different forms of knowledge by claiming this type of certainty. What he doesn't get is Christianity is all about doubt. If any Christian comes up to you and says, you gotta have certainty, or you're not going to heaven, you're gonna burn in the lake of fire, that's just a total joke. Like, the man after God's own heart, David, was questioning God all the time. Job, when he was going through suffering, questioning God all the time. Oh, doubting Thomas. Jesus said, don't doubt. Obviously, because doubting Thomas was scolded. No, doubting Thomas had all the disciples who claimed eyewitness testimony to the resurrection, coming to him, telling him exactly what happened. Finally, Jesus actually gives him the physical proof. It says, touch the actual nail prints in my hands, thrust your hand into the spear wound in my side, then stop doubting and believe. So eventually he calls him out of his doubt. But to your good point, I've doubted one of my brothers all life long. And my 3-year-old daughter the other day was like, oh my God, I can't see, touch, taste something. Like, he's 3, what is going on? It's so in the genes, I just hate it.
You just took a bite of Play-Doh.
Exactly. I didn't answer this. And so I love that about Christian faith, unlike other faiths, which is, yeah.
So, but it sounds like this person that you were going back and forth with is talking about your certainty and the belief of Jesus, that he existed. That's what it sounds like. And I guess that's kind of what was my question about how do you know? Because the preservation of history is freaking difficult, extremely difficult. History is often written by the victors, right? And I don't know who the victor is in this case, but like we have lost thousands of years of history to I don't know. Destruction, fire, torment, collapse, war, rain. And so the further back we go, it is hard to put my seal of belief on something. I don't have a certain amount of evidence. Like I'm one of those, and I'm not like, I'm just doubting. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just asking questions. And eyewitness testimony seems to be like the strongest actual receipt of these events that took place in years 0, by the way, right? This is I want to talk about that, pin that question. But yeah, you have a tremendous amount of faith in eyewitness testimony and the preservation of the records that contributed towards this story.
Yes. As well as Muhammad. If you tell me Muhammad never existed, I'm going to look you in the face and say, I'm sorry, the historical evidence is Muhammad was born about 570 AD and died about 632.
What Muhammad claimed to be a messenger of God?
Prophet of God.
Prophet of God.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not believe in that God? Allah, I assume?
When you read the Quran, there are good reasons to question total reliability of Muhammad, so therefore I don't trust him too much. I have great respect for Muhammad in the way he taught give alms to the poor. I think that's tremendous. Muhammad had more respect for Jesus than the typical American does. Muhammad believed that Jesus was born of a virgin, that he ascended to heaven, he lived a sinless life, he's coming back a second time. Wow. But Muhammad did not subscribe to the deity of Christ, that Christ is actually God.
So I asked someone who was pretty religious, who was close to me. I asked this person, I said, so what about people who don't believe in Jesus, but are still extremely religious, and they subscribe to Allah or Buddhist or whatever the deity is that they worship and believe in? And even just based on what you guys have told me today, if that person doesn't believe in Jesus Christ, and I said to this person, are they going to hell? Are they doomed for the rest of eternity?
The only reason people go to hell is because they choose to live their life separate from God. And
Jesus? Sorry.
Yep.
In this context.
Jesus and God. Yep. Correct. So if I choose to reject Christ and live my life separate from him, I'm choosing to live my life separate from God, and I will, based on my decision, will spend eternity separate from him.
So you believe that anyone who doesn't accept Jesus Christ is going to hell?
Anybody who hears about Christ and has the opportunity to investigate Christ by reading the Gospels and chooses to reject Christ Jesus clearly said, "For God so loved the world, he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. Whoever believes in him is not condemned, but whoever does not believe stands condemned already, because he's not believed in the name of God's one and only Son." That's what Jesus said.
It just isolates such a large portion of the population.
Good point. Jesus doesn't give his followers an option when it comes to loving. If I'm a follower of Christ, I don't have an option to hate. I have to love. I have to accept. I have to be tolerant. In fact, if I'm going to follow a man who, as he's bleeding and dying on a cross, prays for his enemies, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do," that's the essence of tolerance. So intolerance, bigotry, hatred is not an option for a genuine follower of Christ.
But isn't intolerance sort of rooted in Christianity a bit?
Okay, great question. This is a matter of truth. If I say to you, every religion leads to God, is that a truth claim?
No.
I would argue yes. What I'm saying is every religion leads to God, which means I contradict the Muslims, I contradict the Christians, I contradict the Jews. This is a truth claim. I, as a white Western male, am saying every religion leads to God. That's a truth claim. If I say to you, half the religions lead to God, is that a truth claim? Sure it is. I'm saying half are right, half are wrong. That's a truth claim. When Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life, no one comes to the Father except through me," is that a truth claim? Yeah, it sure is. You see, Logan, we all make truth claims. Everybody does. If you're against racism, you're making a truth claim. If you're against sexism, you're making a truth claim. If you're for equal housing opportunity, you're making a truth claim. You better not be prejudiced against someone because of their ethnic heritage when you rent out your apartment. So everybody makes truth claims. So the question is, what is the evidence supporting the truth claim that you buy into? "Oh, I'm agnostic, Cliff. I don't believe anything." I'm sorry, that's impossible. Because you have to make ethical decisions every day. And the ethical decisions you make every day tattles what you really believe about reality. I'm sorry, you got to go to funerals. Got to. Your loved ones are going to pass.
You don't believe it could be intuitive? This feels wrong, this feels right.
Or socially programmed. That's what we spoke about earlier.
Okay, good. Yes, society obviously impacts. But don't you and I have the utmost respect for Dr. Martin Luther King, for Abraham Lincoln, for Gandhi, who choose to follow their conscience instead of following the status quo? Don't we really respect people who say, "You know something, there's a lot of social pressure on me to go this way. But I'm not going to go this way because I have a rational mind, I've got a conscience, and I'm going to think through this issue, and I'm going to do what I believe is best."
Well, we also appreciate those people now, like given
Yeah.
us, the four of us,
Yeah.
white American men in 1950, right? Or
Yep.
1956. Like, who knows what somebody's gonna kill me on this date.
No, we're
Pay for what?
For MLK, are we close?
Yeah.
Are we close? At least 56. Does that work?
Yeah.
Who knows what our thoughts about his speakings would have been at that given time? Which I'm bringing back. And by the way, obviously coming from Christians, it's just an exercise here of like what say you to these people who believe that some of that ethical behavior and moral behavior is just a social program that we've set from their existence on this planet. I think we've spoken about this thing.
You bet. Well, it depends how you view the human being. If a human being is simply the sum total of the influences of their environment, we're not free. We've been programmed by our environment. Now, I agree, environment has a powerful influence. I think that's obvious. I'm dressed the way I am because I grew up in the United States. So I've been influenced by my culture, by my society.
Connecticut. To be honest with you,
Sociopath.
trust me, I would still be rocking both of these fits if I hadn't moved to LA. When I met Logan, I was wearing that exact same outfit. I swear.
But I don't think I have to follow my environment. And I think there are more than enough examples from all four of our lives that at times we've followed our environment and at times we've contradicted our environment.
But I think you hit some difference. You hit social, you hit instinctual. And I go by evolutionary theory. I believe in evolution, Mike, bro.
Wait, what?
A lot of Christians don't.
Yeah, wait, whoa.
Well, so morally, you should be at the top of the food chain. You're a fighter, right? You've got power. The powerful, they eat the weak. Strong eat the weak.
It's record.
And so why is
One
that?
and one.
so,
I don't know.
so why is might makes right from an evolutionary perspective? Why do we as a society don't just say, why would you live for something like human rights? Why would you disadvantage yourself for the poor? from an evolutionary standpoint, you should slaughter them, or at least just let them die off. Why would you have your baby? Not back to your baby.
No, go ahead.
Perspective.
Go ahead, slaughter my unborn baby, guys.
So bad news, Logan.
Like, the percentage was astronomical back in the Roman Empire of those who, if you didn't like your baby, you just go on a trash heap. Infanticide was all. Well, that fits with evolution. Totally does.
It does that.
Yeah. And so why morally, instinctually, like you're saying, if we just were raised red in tooth and claw, just live that way. Like Hitler lived that way. It makes sense to me. So if there is no God, I hate to say this, I don't mean to get dark quickly, but if there is no God and there is no Christ, I would try and be as consistent as possible with that worldview.
Fair. That makes sense. I want to pin the evolution. It surprises me that you believe in evolution. Pin that. What were we just? I wanted to touch on the intolerance part of just not even just Christianity, just organized religion in general. This is a qualm I have. This is where I think if again,
This is where you got heated.
I harbor resentment for certain parts of organized religion that make people either exclude others or lead to hatred and dispute, rage, feud. And in this particular podcast, actually, I had a moment where I was like mocking religion, Jesus in general. By the way, the next 3 months of my life were hell. like literally, I felt the wrath of God, like instantly.
And I just sit there and watch.
And I'll never do it.
I can't help you.
And I'll never do it again. And then by the end of it, I had it wasn't like a come to Jesus moment, but he definitely gave me guidance at the time where I needed guidance. Anyways, that was a verbal outpour of like a level of resentment that I felt from certain parts of, particularly in that scenario, Christianity that I just didn't agree with. Man, like I'll be honest here. I don't love this sort of like exclusive club feeling. Oh, you can get into heaven if you believe in Jesus, but everyone else is doomed. I don't love that, right? Because there are people who have the same amount of faith in their religion as you guys do in yours, who are putting their time, effort, energy, investing their whole lives into believing in a deity, and like according to you guys, they won't end up in a place that is paradise, even though they're leading a great life and have a great moral compass. Even just like the whole like gay marriage thing, I like correct me if I'm wrong, right? But according to Christianity, like gay marriage isn't allowed to be a thing, and I know there's a lot of circumstances of like a gay child being resented and even alienated from their family because they have super religious parents, and I hear those stories. Like I hurt for those people because a decision is being made based on a set of beliefs that people are so bound to, but then they throw the love aside for someone in their family.
Yep.
And that kind of bothers me.
Sure. But remember, Louis, the legitimacy of faith is not determined by passion. If you're passionate about thin ice on a lake, I really believe this thin ice is going to hold me up. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You walk out on that thin ice, you're going through, sir.
Yep.
So the legitimacy of faith is determined by the trustworthiness of the object of your faith. If it's thick ice and you believe just a little, and you step out on that ice, it's going to hold you up. You see, remember, I'm not going to heaven because I'm passionate. No, I'm a dirty, rotten sinner. Christ died on a cross for me. I put my faith in it. I doubt it, man. I sin every day. I am no perfect human specimen. I'm a dirty, rotten sinner. That's who I am.
Wait, Cliff, well, you keep saying that, but like you're I don't know you that well, right? So in my head, you're like painting a picture of someone that I just don't believe you are. Is that you being humble? Are you like are you actually like a dirty, rotten sinner?
Probably his sin
All right.
might be different.
It comes down to how you define sin. No, I have never, not even dated, but I have lusted. No, I have never murdered anybody, but I have hated. No, I have never brought a whip down on the back of a black slave, not once. But I, as a white American, have had subtle racist attitudes. No, I don't live an incredibly opulent life, but I have been greedy. So I'm not this wonderful person that I wish everybody would believe that I am. I am a sinner. That is why I need Christ. Now, remember, it's not about my passion. It's not about my sincerity. That's the key issue when it comes to faith. It's about the reliability of the object, my friend. And you know that. If you trust a criminal, he's going to rip you off. If you trust a reliable person, that's good. Now here's where it really gets tricky. Let's be a skeptic, right? Let's doubt. Okay, let's start right in here in this room. I doubt you and I doubt you.
I doubt him too.
All right.
I think I doubt him.
Now there's nothing wrong with
I
doubting.
doubt myself enough for all of it.
Exactly. Okay. But I can push that too far. I can get to the point where I say, in spite of the evidence that you two guys are reliable, I'm not going to trust you. I'm going to be a hyper skeptic. Skepticism is good, but when it turns into hyper skepticism, watch out. Why is it so dangerous?
Yeah, what?
Because I'll never have the privilege of being your friend. If I'm always skeptical about you, if I'm always doubting you, I will miss my friendship with both you and you.
That's an extreme. You know, you like hyper skepticism.
Right.
I don't think I don't know if it's as extreme as you think. This is the person I was describing before. This, I'm so smart because I question everything. The issue with these people is you provide absolute proof that their questioning is leading them down the wrong path, and they're still unwilling to accept that as a proof. So
Hyper skepticism, sure, but
it's like coming more prevalent.
just to question and doubt and not accept everything you see at face value as truth. I don't think.
Jesus said you better do that.
Oh, we do.
He said, beware of false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing. Inwardly, they are ferocious wolves, and they will eat your life.
Okay, let me tell you something about what you just said. And this is where a portion of that resentment started to grow. I had a person very close to me tell me that that mistake that I referenced earlier happened because I had a statue of Buddha in my backyard. Took me aside and said, I know why all this bad stuff has been happening to you, and I know why Japan happened. I said, please tell me. What do you know? And he looked at this statue, giant Buddha statue, and he said what you just said. He said something about punishing those who worship false prophets, false idols, something like that. And in that moment, I thought that was so just bizarre and also kind of like distasteful to everyone who puts their life in the belief Buddhism. It was like a first like tip off to me, like, okay, I don't know if I'm willing to subscribe to like a religion that is alienating an entire belief system, or even just because I have a statue in my backyard. And intuitively, I felt like it was just so ridiculous. Like how could I then subscribe to this one religion, right? Because that in itself is intolerance. No?
There's no way that anybody knows that because you have a statue of Buddha in your backyard, this horrible thing happened. That's total presumptuous. It's false.
It was wrong. Got rid of it. It's terrible. Kept that. Like it's just it's.
Did we get rid of it?
It's totally.
We tried to give it to Russell
Russell
Brand.
Brand. He said no, and then I think someone. I mean, you don't own it anymore, and you still. It's odd.
It's ridiculous that he said that.
I-
I'm sorry he said that.
No, I definitely thought. I was like, what? It was on the.
Yeah, you had it all messed
Dude,
up.
I don't know. I'm not like Buddhist. I thought it was cool. That was the extent. I was like, saw it at the store. I was like, this is look good in my backyard. And then I was like, this is